No way in hell do I believe that Sam Darnold can beat the Houston Texans defense.
Hard work, hard work, hard work, hard work, hard work, work. There you go. Hard work, work. Everybody doing it right. Hard work, work, work. That's what you say. Hard work, work, work. Earn more pay. Hard work, work. Hard work, do it every day. Hard work, work. Get up out of 2:45. Hard work, work. You go and earn more pay. Hard work, work.
Hey, what's going on, y'all? You're tuning to the Sports Talk with Big Sarge Show. I'm your host, Big Sarge. Make sure you'll follow me on the app formerly known as Twitter at Big Sarge Sports with the Z at the end. Make sure you follow me on the Tick and the Talk at Big Sarge Media. Subscribe to my YouTube channel, I said my YouTube channel, Sarge. Stop jumping ahead of yourself. This is what happens when you get old. You start jumbling things up in your mind. I would just love to have a Shipley's donut right now. I don't even know where that came from, but I would just love to have me a good old Shipley's donut. Make sure you subscribe to my YouTube channel at Big Sarge Media and read all my articles at www.bigsargemedia.com. What's going on, y'all? Good morning, good morning, good morning. Hey, look, hold on. Before we even get this thing started. All right, real quick. Hey, look, everybody knows I'm a gym junkie, right? I'm a gym junkie, gym rat, whatever you want to call it. I love going to the gym because that is my therapy because, it's easier to lift weights than it is to fight somebody and go to jail. It's easier to lift weights than to tell somebody, hey, no, you just a stupid mother. It's easier to take it out on the weights than to just grab somebody by their cheeks. You know how little kids grab their parents and stuff by their face like they want them to pay attention? I really sometimes just want to grab people's face, bring them close to me and be like, that was the dumbest I have ever heard in my entire life. And I am dumber now for hearing you say that. I apologize. Hold on one second. Click. Let me turn on my brain Wi-Fi so you can be smarter. I digress. I love going to the gym. Y'all know I love going to the gym. I post about it every morning. Listen, last week we talked about some gym etiquette, and I told you, hey, stop crop dusting, especially you women, because women will crop dust you. They'll walk right by your face, pass gas, and keep it moving. And I'll be like, hey, look, hold on, time out. I ain't come here for the gym to be crop dusted, right? It's some more gym etiquette. Maybe I should start doing just a show on gym etiquette. Listen, 2 things I want to talk about this morning that should never happen in the gym, all right? First of all, in the men's locker room, no, I do not want to talk to you if you don't have on any clothes. That's the first thing. You cannot stand and small talk with me with no clothes on. I will literally walk away from you. I don't want to talk to you. Listen, I got a hard time talking to men on the phone when I'm using the bathroom. No, we're not going to do that. No, hey, bro, I'm going to call you back because it's just certain things you don't do, right? Don't talk to me if you ain't got no clothes on. We ain't finna have no conversation. That's weird. Also, I'm not talking to you in a towel. That is weird. It's weird. I don't want to talk to you while you're naked, and I don't want to talk to you while you're in a towel. Put some damn clothes on. I got my clothes on. Put your clothes on. It don't really bother me if you try to talk to me and you got no shirt on. That's cool. I get it, bro. All right, I got it. Maybe you're trying to cool down or something or whatever the case may be, right? The top half. You don't need to be naked and cool down your whole body and try to talk to me. I don't want to talk to you about the Texans when you're naked. I don't want to talk about the NFL. I don't want to talk about none of that stuff. I don't want to talk about politics. I don't want to talk about nothing. Nothing. I don't even care if you're like, hey, I got a way to make you $1 million. So you ain't got no way to make me $1 million naked. First thing. Second thing. Hey, look, when you see people with headphones on, starting from the little small earbuds all the way up to the big, I got the big AirPods because, those little things, my ears are, this is really weird, but I think my ears are 2 different sizes. So the earbuds don't fit in my ear right? So I got the big AirPods, right? Noise canceling. Oh man, they are amazing. I love them, and they're huge, so they let you know I got headphones on. Don't ask me. Don't ask me to small talk with you and make me take my headphones off. Right? If you want to have a conversation with me and I got my headphones on, then it better be some substance or it better be an emergency. Don't make me go like, listen, let me tell y'all something. This is the worst thing that a person wants to do in the gym. Huh? What? Because that's how I am. Huh? What? Would you see me in the middle of a set? What do you want to talk about? I don't want to talk about that. Is the weight about to hit me? Is somebody about to hit me? Am I in danger, Will Robinson? Some of y'all don't remember that. Danger, Will Robinson. Listen, if I'm not in danger and it's not of substance, don't make me pull my headphones off to small talk. Hey, man, how was your weekend? Are you kidding me, bro? In the middle of my set? I'm also probably wired up off the coffee that I had this morning. That caffeine is kicking in my system, and I'm damn near 53 years old, so I can't handle too much at one time. Let me focus on working out. I don't want to talk to you about my weekend. I don't want to talk about the weather. I don't want to talk about what HEB did. I don't want to talk about what the Astros did the night prior. I don't want to talk to none. I don't want to talk about none of that stuff. So as I digress, don't talk to me in the locker room when you naked and got a towel on. Don't talk to me when I got headphones on. I'm in the middle of a set. I'm not trying to do all of that. Woo! Got that off my chest. Now I guess we can go ahead and start the show. Hey! Once again, you tune into the Sports Talk with Big Sarge show. Hey man, listen, hold on. I got somebody for y'all today. B. Scott from the block, Houston Sports Radio's Texans Insider and radio personality. B, I'm sorry you had to hear me rant like that, but man, look, that's entirely too much for me, B.
Hey, look, I appreciated that, and for the very reasons that you listed out, all of the gym etiquette that you're talking about is the very reason why I go when nobody is there, and why I'm reluctant to be in there with anybody. And it's really twofold. I'm not trying to make myself seem perfect. I don't want to risk them not following my rules of gym etiquette, and I don't want to risk somehow, some way, not following their own personal rules of gym etiquette. Right? Like I like going in the gym when there's minimal people, because there's minimal politics and minimal rules that have to be followed, other than the basics of just being clean and decent. You know what I mean? But when it's crowded in the gym, you got a lot of different people with a lot of different understandings on how things work, and I don't have the patience for it. I'm not about to be 53 years old, but I even at whatever big age, I don't have the patience for it.
Bro, that's the one thing that bothers me. And the more the deeper that I get into this media game, I mean, I'm not as as recognizable as B. Scott, who is, you might can catch him on Sports Radio 610. You can catch him on the what is it, B Block Podcast?
Yes, sir.
B Block Podcast. You can catch him on Channel 11, CBS Houston. You might catch him on NBC, ABC, Telemundo. Like, ain't no telling where you're gonna see B. Scott at, but you're gonna see him, and you're gonna see him regularly throughout the week. So I'm not as easily recognizable as B. Scott, but I got a little hood fame. You know what I'm saying? I might be a ghetto superstar, just a little bit.
Hey, that's where it matters most at to us. You know what I mean? Like all of that you said is well and good if it comes through, but what really matters is if you can go home and they recognize you. Or if you can put on for home, even if they don't recognize you, even if the neighborhood changed, that you rep for that. So.
Hey, speaking of being not recognized in your own hood. Hey, B. The Super Bowl is in New Orleans this year. Lil Wayne is not performing. He is not headlining. He's not going to be recognized in his own city. But Kendrick Lamar is. How do you feel about Kendrick Lamar being the headliner for the Super Bowl?
Look, I'm gonna be honest with you, man. I was, and this is you talking to somebody that is as big of a Lil Wayne fan as you'll find. Like the height of Wayne coincides with, my upbringing, my very core and important years in life, like I'm in high school when Go DJ comes out, that's what we're talking about.
Mhm.
And still, I was surprised by the outrage that the
Yeah.
outrage happened this way, because, like, look, Wayne is a legend. Wayne is
Yeah.
obviously from New Orleans, but, like, the fact that they picked Kendrick Lamar, to me, makes so much more sense given where Kendrick Lamar is in his career, given what's happened with the Kendrick Lamar and Drake back and forth. Kendrick Lamar currently, and that was a complaint of the Super Bowl, was that you were getting a lot of has-been acts, you were getting a lot of legacy acts, but it wasn't current enough. It wasn't resonating enough with, like, a current audience.
Yep.
And this does absolutely that, bringing in Kendrick Lamar, arguably, at least not arguably, at least among the biggest stars in the game right now, and not just for what he's done over the course of a career, but what he's doing right now, right? Like, Not Like Us is one of the biggest songs in the world right now. So, like, that they would pick that guy over a legend should not be surprising.
V.
That being said, I wouldn't mind a Lil Wayne concert. I wouldn't mind one. I just understand why they didn't do it.
Now, be real quick, and I didn't mean to cut you off, but I was just gonna say, bro, listen, Kendrick's show was what, Juneteenth, right? June 19th. We're currently in the month of September, right? We hold on, let me see. It might have been, listen, today is September 18th, so let's see, July, August. So like 2 months, two and a half months ago, whatever, 2 months. Juneteenth was his pop-out show, right?
Mm-hmm.
I still find myself going around saying, "Psst, I see dead people," right? Because you remember how he kept starting the song over and over and over again. Man, listen, me and my wife be sitting on the couch watching TV sometimes, and then I'll just scream out A minor. So,
Or wop 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 wop.
right.
You know what I'm saying? Like, and the way they did it with them cuts in the video, on their live stream, that pop 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 pop, like the nasty cuts. Like, all of that resonated and still resonates. I have to stop. Like, my children obviously don't understand the contents of this song because it's not for children. They notice, so I have to stop them and say, hey, don't sing that song. Like, you cannot sing that song. I can't really control the fact that they know it because the song is everywhere. They're gonna get exposed to it.
Yes.
But I have to say, hey, don't be singing the lyrics to that song. But that's how far reaching it is, that, here we are, grown men, talking about it. Obviously, Kendrick Lamar is going to perform in the Super Bowl, and my 9 and 7-year-old know his song. They don't know Wayne songs. They don't know Wayne songs, even though Daddy listened to it.
Yeah. And so I put it like this, B. When I heard the announcement, I thought that it made perfect sense, because the Super Bowl isn't just for New Orleans. The Super Bowl is for the world. This is the world stage. This halftime show is going to be on over the world. And don't get me wrong, is Lil Wayne an icon? Yes. He's not just a rap icon. He's an icon. He's easily recognizable wherever he goes. People know who Lil Wayne is, and he's put in the work. He has the longevity. He has the records. He does have the hits. But what he doesn't have is things. He doesn't have to me, he doesn't have enough songs that would resonate outside of the hip hop culture. And I get it. Don't get me wrong. Listen, which one was which it was one of the mixtapes that had Ice Cream Paint Job on it. God dang it. I can't remember.
That one of the droughts?
Yeah, was it? I don't remember, but whatever that.
Man, that mixtape run was it was a blur.
Right. And mixtape Wayne is amazing. So, like, look, Wayne is good for the Bayou Classic, right? You go and got Grambling versus Southern for the Bayou Classic. Great. You bring Wayne out, the whole Superdome is gonna go crazy. You bring him out during Super Bowl, some people gonna be like, And if you look at what Kendrick Lamar has done over time and what he just did by taking down one of the biggest rap stars, one of the biggest stars across the world. Like, Drake is, like, if you say Drake name, easily recognizable. And Kendrick Lamar just pretty much destroyed him in this rap battle. And now the things that Kendrick has done, plus you got to look at it like this. Kendrick has stage presence. He knows how to put on a show. Wayne just come on there and you don't know if you're gonna get sober Wayne, you don't know if you're gonna get high Wayne, but he's gonna come on there, he gonna go like this and he gonna be screaming this, that, and other. And like, no, like you can't just come on and just start screaming.
Well, I think that was a lesson of, like, aside from Wayne, I think that was a lesson from the pop out that a lot of people learned about Kendrick Lamar that perhaps they didn't know. Now, I got to see Kendrick in 2018 at the Cynthia Woods Pavilion. It was basically the whole TD, not the whole, but a lot of the TDE lineup. Schoolboy Q, SZA, a few of them were there. And of course, obviously Kendrick Lamar. So I was familiar with him as a performer. I don't know if the world was before that pop out, and I think they laid eyes on it because of what it represented. Obviously, it was on Juneteenth, and obviously it was on the heels of the beef with Drake. So like it was just as timely as ever. But I think that's something that a lot of people learned about Kendrick Lamar. And then to your point about Wayne, maybe like everybody doesn't necessarily realize that part of it. They're just thinking about hitmaker Wayne. I talked about that mixtape run. Obviously, the more mainstream hits factor in as well. So like we know Wayne the hitmaker, but like, have you been to a Wayne show? Like, have you really watched Wayne? I can remember this might have also been 2018. Now that I think of it, but the first Astroworld Festival, not the one where the tragedies happened, but the very, very first one. Wayne was on the ticket. Like Wayne performed at that concert.
Yeah.
And I was right there. Like right there. I was taking, you mentioned Channel 11 earlier. I was actually there taking photos for Channel 11, KHOU. Mm-hmm. And I was right there, and man, like there was a mystique to it, but it was far from one of the more special performances of the night. Like Young Thug performed that night. Post Malone performed that night. Obviously, Travis Scott performed that night. Like it was, I want to say Ray Shremmer performed that night. Like it was far from one of the better performances, even though it might have carried the most cachet outside of Travis Scott himself. So like it's probably been a long time since a Wayne show was really something that you long for, even with respect to his catalog and his stature and his place in the game.
B, I want to stay right here on halftime shows, because the Houston Texans had a primetime game on Sunday night here at NRG Stadium. And at the halftime, they brought out Slim Thug, Maxo Cream, and Big X the Plug. How did you feel about that halftime show, B?
Yeah, so I was a fan of it, man. I was looking forward to it when I saw the lineup. What's funny is, so when I saw the lineup, I want to say it might have even been you. A few of y'all tweeted about it. I know you, my guy Spo, tweeted about the lineup, and that's how I found out about it. But I just happened to be in the moment listening to Big X the Plug, like in my car at the time. Like,
well, the largest is my song. Texas and the largest is my song.
I was gonna say Texas too. He's got the that one too. Like really all of his stuff. Like I'm really with the Big X the Plug vibe. So I appreciate it that they that they brought him out, even though he's a Dallas guy. His mom is from Houston. So and obviously he shows Houston a lot of love. I was surprised though that Maxo went with Meet Again as his track. Like he only did one song, obviously. I think pretty much all of them just did the one song. Yeah. And that he went with Meet Again. Meet Again is not necessarily a deep cut, but it wasn't one that I was necessarily expecting. I thought maybe he could have done the relay song that he's got with Travis Scott. I don't know. I'm not really exactly sure, because a lot of his stuff is kind of deep and can sometimes be I don't know. It just didn't necessarily match the mood of the halftime show. Yeah. But I was with it because I'm a Maxo fan. I just was like, oh man, I don't know how many people necessarily know, and if this is the song to get them to know. Like this is one that you listen to after you already rope them in.
Yeah.
So I thought that one was kind of curious, but I'm a big Maxo fan, big X the Plug fan, and obviously Slim Thug kicking it off. I thought was major. So like honestly, and I'm probably maybe one of the few people in our business, in our industry, who feels this way. But that was the highlight of the night for me. That was the best part of the night for me. At least the in game or live experience, like being there in the building, the best part of the night for me.
Once again, tune into Sports Talk with Big Sarge. I got Brandon K. Scott, Sports Radio 610, Texans Insider, and radio personality. B, listen. So first off, our guy DJ doesn't even know who Big X the Plug is.
Oh, come on, man, DJ.
But listen, he don't know who Big X the Plug is, but he always want to talk about Boss Man D-Lo. And I was like, bro, come on, you have got to get out of Florida and start listening to other types of music. That's the first thing. Second thing is Big X the Plug. Him and Big 30 remind me a lot of each other. I wish MO3 would have still been alive. God rest his soul. Boy, they would have killed some songs, man. But so here's my thing, though, B. Don't get me wrong. I like Big X the Plug. I'm a diehard Slim Thug fan. I'm not really familiar with Maxo Cream, but this is the problem that I have, B. Let me tell you the problem that I have. One, hey, listen, I'm tired of Clay Walker. I'm sorry. I'm tired of Clay Walker, B. I'm tired of Clay Walker. Every year, once or twice a year, Clay Walker, like, come on, man. I know he only sung the Star Spangled Banner, the national anthem. I get it. I'm tired of Clay Walker, B. That's the first thing. Like, there's got to be other people that in Houston that is talented enough. Like, go to some of these musical art schools or go to some of the get the choirs. Sunday night, the primetime game. You ain't had a primetime game since 2019, and you bring out, hey, let's go get good old Clay Walker. Like, listen, Mr. Walker, because, I know you're listening. I know you're a fan of the show. I don't, nothing personal, but I'm going to be honest with you. Like, they couldn't have got, oh, my God, what's the other country singer? Oh, God, I can't think. The one who just talked about going to Long John Silver's the other day. My wife knows. But anyway, they could have got other people. That's the first thing, B. Second thing, too, right? And this is the problem that I had with the halftime show. I'm tired of Slim, Paul, Bun B, Mike Jones. I don't want to hear Still Tipping no more. Bro, I know every verse. I've heard it. I can sing it. I can sing the hip hop version, the R&B version, the funk version, the jazz version, the mariachi version, the instrumental. I am tired of Still Tipping.
Yeah, but it's our. I understand what you're saying, but Sarge, you gotta understand. Still Tipping, for me, it's Tops Drop. Like, but for a lot of people, Still Tipping is like our New York, New York. You know what I'm saying? Like, what is? I know the Chronicle did try to do a series on this, or at least attempted this, of what is Houston's song, what is the Houston anthem, and I don't know if they actually got to an answer, but obviously Still Tipping qualifies. We don't really necessarily have one, but it feels like the Texans have decided that that is our anthem. Now, and we can disagree. We can throw out some different ideas of what the anthem actually should be, but they are clearly going with Still Tipping as being the anthem, man. You gonna hear some old Still Tipping. Like, I'm gonna have to time. I hate to break it to you, bro.
Every time they bring them out, they got to sing Still Tipping. Every time you're at Minute Maid Park and Jordan comes to the plate, what do you hear?
Yeah, Still Tipping.
I am so tired. Listen, hold on.
But see, they gave Jordan 44,
and that makes sense.
You know what I'm saying?
Hearing it so much. B, listen. How come I can't hear? I'm from Houston, Texas, home of the Texans.
So they gave us. Do you remember those gift cards from a year or two ago?
Yes.
That was like the, you open the card and then it play a song. They used that in that one. They probably should do a little bit more with that one. I'm with you. I'm with you on that one.
I'm tired. Listen,
even Big X the Plugs Texas, like that.
Yeah.
Dun, 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 dun. Like when that drops, like the way they freak that. Dun, dun, hey, I'm with it. I'm with. They could do more with that too.
Bro, listen, I'm telling you, they could go, man. Listen, and I can't wait till Big X the Plug does a remix. I'm pretty sure Slim gonna be on there. Paul Wall probably gonna be on there. But B, I'm so tired of still tipping. Listen, last non-sports related.
Oh wait, I
topic.
was going to tell you too, Clay Walker. Look, man. So my understanding is that within the McNair family, there is a Clay Walker thing, like a love for Clay Walker. So that reaches above us, unfortunately, man.
Where Julia Roberts' ex-husband at? What's his name? The country singer. What's it? I can't think of his name. He from Houston. I mean, he from Texas.
You know what I was gonna say? They should have really, as big of a game as this was, they really, I thought, should have aimed high. I don't know if there would have been some network conflict with the game being on NBC, but I would have aimed high and tried to get my man, come on now, the big dude with the beard, man.
Who? Jelly Roll?
No, the big soulful dude. Come on, how am I forgetting my man's name?
I don't know who you're talking about. I really, honestly, I thought
Chris Stapleton.
That's because black people only know Tennessee whiskey as the only. They think that's the only country song ever
No,
made.
but he done the anthem before too. I forget where it was, but we heard him do the anthem, and he can pretty much do anything. Like he is that dude. Like I would have aimed high, higher.
Bro, listen, I'm just like I'm just tired of hearing it, man. Listen, I really thought, listen, we about to move on from this, but I really thought you was about to say, hey, why they just can't bring out Meg the Stallion? Hey, for those of y'all don't know, that's an inside joke for me and B. He knows exactly why I said that. All right, B, last non-sports related topic. And the reason why, listen, let me tell you all who are just joining. So B Scott is a music connoisseur, and when I tell you he's a music connoisseur, he knows it all. We chop it up all the time, just about music in general, and that's why that's why I'm talking about music, because if you listen to the B Block podcast, B also talks about, and if you follow him on social media, he'll put out, it's almost like daily now, right? B, you'll put out a song that you're listening to.
Yeah, pretty often.
Yeah.
Like if I'm listening and I'm vibing, or I catch a lyric that reach out to me or whatever, and I've done that for a while. Like I kind of have spurts where I'm just like sharing whatever I'm jamming at the time.
And like I said, man, and plus, I mean, every time everybody see you or hear you, you're always talking about sports, man. And I was like, bro, y'all don't really know. B Scott is eclectic. He got a whole nother side about him that y'all don't even know. Speaking of a whole nother side that you don't even know, side note, right? So you think that the song that Kendrick Lamar released, It's Time for the Party to Die, was an ode to Puffy? Hey, hold on. To P. Diddy, Brother Love, Puffy, Puff Daddy, Sean Combs, Mr. Take That. You think that was an ode to him? Like, hey, man, basically pretty much the party's over, bro. They finna come get you. The party must die. Because he was arrested and charged because of his parties. It's over for Puffy, P. Diddy, Brother Love, Sean Combs, Mr. Take That.
Man, Mr. Take That, and we did not realize that he meant like very lit, like that was not just a catchphrase.
Yeah,
he meant that when he said take that. But Kendrick Lamar has taken it upon himself and made it a part of his brand to be like not just a conscious rapper, but to be like to rap with social consciousness, like or with like basically what's on his heart really, and what's relevant, what he feels like is relevant to the world. He kind of takes it upon himself to like be the voice of that or give voice to it.
Rapping to get the slaves free.
Right.
Drake said.
Yeah, and like, dude, Drake like just fitting right into the joke.
Right.
It's like, man, why? Nothing worse than somebody make a joke about you and then you like add to the punchline or punch the punchline.
Exactly.
So, but anyway, yeah. So yes, I do think that there was that there was some foresight and foreshadowing happening there. As far as Diddy, Puffy, Puff Daddy, I did this with my daughter the other day. She didn't like. I'm trying to remember which name she knows him by. She's 14, my oldest daughter. So I forget which name she knows him by, but whatever name I use, she didn't know. I think I might have called him Puffy or something like that. And she was like, what? And I forget what the conversation was, but like we finally reached a breaking point, and I'm surprised that he was able to survive that initial Me Too wave. Like how was it when everybody, not everybody, but when so many people of power were being exposed seemingly in sequence, like just like one after another, how he didn't get rolled into that is shocking to me, and shows you how powerful of a figure he had really become, that he was able to shield himself from that avalanche. We're talking about, 7, 8 years now going on past the Me Too movement, and Puffy, Diddy, P. Diddy, Sean Combs, Sean John is finally just
take that.
Is finally being put in handcuffs. Like it is, it is astounding. I tell you when I knew that he was going down. And this, I don't want this to sound insensitive. I want to be clear, because what he's being accused of is all serious stuff, and people went through some things.
Yes,
but when the news came out about him bombing, supposedly blowing up Kid Cudi's car,
yes,
I knew that we were on a different level now of what we were talking about. I was like, okay, we're not just talking about, a mean guy. We're talking about a dangerous MF. And not just that was an accusation, but then Cudi's people came and confirmed that his car did in fact blow up. Like that wasn't just that was a thing, that there was no report disputing this, really. Nothing credible disputing that this happened. So I was like, oh wait, so you're saying this dude really blew up Kid Cudi's car? Oh no, he's a maniac. I don't even want to even try to imagine the things that he might have done within the accusations or without outside of them, if that makes sense. Like this, that tells me if you are capable of blowing up somebody's car, like you are so far beyond like my comprehension.
Well, that he had Kim Porter's house allegedly wired, right? He had her whole entire, and the only way that she was really able to find out is this is all alleged, this is what I read. The only way they say she was able to find out, she was dating a guy in the tech business, and she kept telling him something ain't right with my phone. Like my phone keep my phone is messing up, or whatever the case may be. Then next thing you know, he was like, hold on. And then he got some people out there, and man, they found all kind of bugs everywhere in her house. And so yes, B, those, like, you're like that, if everything that he's being accused of is true, he's truly a diabolical type of person. And this is my thing. Some of the allegations and some of the things that he's been accused of, right, are it bothers me, because I'm like, you're doing this to men and women, allegedly. You're allegedly doing this to men and women, and you got sons and daughters. And so if you wouldn't want nobody to do your son or your daughter, your sons or your daughters like that, why are you doing other people's children like this? If you don't want nobody to lay one finger, do anything menacing, diabolical to your family, and you're willing to do this for your family, meaning that you're willing to go out and do all these things that he's been alleged of, as far as threatening people and do this, especially when it comes to his family, some of those things when it comes to his family, then why are you doing this to other people's family?
Yeah, so the issue is, and I know you understand this, but a narcissist and a power-hungry, obsessive type of personality like that is not able to, I don't think, make those distinctions, or to I should say, to draw the parallel, I should say. of mine versus theirs, because they already think that theirs is better than everybody else's. So mine is not like yours. Like we, assuming, obviously don't know Diddy personally, but assuming he actually loves his children, and I'm gonna at least give him that benefit of the doubt, but I don't even know that. Like, but let's just give him the benefit of the doubt and assume that he does. It's very easy to draw, for a narcissist like that to draw that line of demarcation of mine versus yours. Like, I'll do yours like this, but mine is above this. Because they're mine. So I think that's part of it. But obviously, obviously you're talking about a sick individual if these things are true. We are not, like, thank God for the fact that you cannot put yourself mentally in a place where you can understand or rationalize why somebody would do things that are being alleged here against Diddy.
Bro, that's crazy, bro. I can't listen. If that man go to prison, I know every night he gonna hear bad boy come out to play. Oh, you thought I wasn't gonna do no remix, huh? Hey, B. All right, look. All right, let's go ahead and jump into some of these sports topics, man. Hey, listen, do you really expect, hold on. Did you expect the Minnesota Vikings to be 2-0 at this point without their starting quarterback and JJ McCarthy, rookie quarterback out of Michigan, who went down with the season-ending injury early on, and being led by Sam Darnold?
Yeah, so I didn't expect him to be in this position with or without JJ McCarthy. With Sam Darnold, JJ McCarthy, because we understand that they were going to play the 49ers in week 2, and I just automatically assumed that they were going to lose that game. And I figured they were going to lose to the Texans as well. And I still believe that. We'll probably get to that in a moment. But no, I did not expect them to be 2-0 because I did not expect them to beat the 49ers. And I think the way in which they did that and made that happen, and the way that they've played over the first couple of weeks, does make them formidable and does make them an opponent much more worth paying attention to than I initially thought. Like, I don't feel like it's just a smoke and mirrors 2-0. I don't feel like what they have done so far is fluky. I think that it is sustainable and indicative of something that is serious. I'm not like saying that they're gonna win the Super Bowl, but they are well coached and they got some elements to their team that, again, I think are sustainable for success. So, like, I think the Texans are very much capable of winning this game, but this is not a pushover. This is not a just check this one off on the schedule type of game, because it's a physical team, underrated physical team, able to run the football. They got some players on defense that we are familiar with here in Houston, and that I think can play well for them. So I'm very intrigued by the matchup. Now, if you asking me, hold on, you mentioned Sam Darnold. Wait a minute, hold on. If you asking me if I'm sold on the Sam Darnold thing, I ain't. You know me better than this now. I ain't crazy. You know what I mean? You can fool me once, and maybe you catch me slipping and you fool me twice. And then in that case it'll be my fault. But you ain't fooling me with no doggone Sam Darnold. I'll be doggone if that happened. So no. I look, Sam Darnold. I'll say this: I've always thought is a capable quarterback. But it just he's been so many places and it just has never come together in a consistent fashion. So I got a hard time believing that now is the time. But I will say, beyond him, he is in a good situation. So to me, it's less about Sam Darnold, who is capable. It's less about him and more about what's around him and what the situation is, which I do, again, think is pretty good. So that's maybe a long-winded way of me calling Sam Darnold a product of his environment. Being in a good environment, he looks good right now, and that could work. That could work out for him. I do think that because he does have some like, he was a top pick, number 2 pick for a reason. Like, he does have some ability that's very obvious and transparent. So if they can get the most out of that, look, I'm interested to see how Kevin O'Connell on the offensive side. He's got Wade Phillips' son as his offensive coordinator, Wes Phillips, and obviously Brian Flores is on the other side. Like, I'm very interested to see what that coaching staff does with the personnel that they have, because
Yeah.
it does seem to be like it's a pretty decent team.
Yeah, and I'm bringing this up because I spoke with so on yesterday's show I had DJ on. Those of y'all don't know, I'm talking about ESPN DJ Bienemy, who covers the Houston Texans here. And so this whole thing started actually. So this is how I'm gonna tell you how this whole conversation started, and this is why I've been on a rant about Sam Darnold the last couple of days. So I had a chance to do some stuff with KPRC2 KPRC2 Houston, right? And so Aaron Wilson, of course, their Texans Insider, and then their TV personalities, and Randy McElvoy and Chancellor Johnson. And Chancellor looks over to me while we're in a break and say, "Hey, the Vikings could beat the Texans." I said, "Did they get Patrick Mahomes or something? Like, did they get even Justin Herbert? Hell, did they even get Russell Wilson? Like, who did they get in order for you to say that you think that the Vikings can beat the Texans?" Because I'm like, if Sam Darnold is still quarterback, there's no possible way. I'm like, bro, there's no possible way that I would never, and I could be wrong as two left shoes, right? I could be wrong, B, and the Texans might lose this weekend. Like, I'm not saying that they're going. I'm not saying that they can't win. I'm saying that they're not going to lose. How about that? I'm not. And so, but real quickly, I said I don't have any faith in a Sam Darnold led team, and this was before B. This was even before I went and started reviewing the tape. So I'm going back. So I watched this 49ers game, right? Because they're like, oh, look, he beat the 49ers. Well, yeah, the 49ers didn't pressure him really. They didn't blitz him. They blitzed him like less than 10% of the time. One of the touchdowns came from a busted play, wide open busted play. I also seen him throw into triple coverage where Fred Warner just drifted into a space and just baited him and waited on him to go ahead and to go ahead and throw the ball, and he picked him off. Same thing that I watched Azeez do. Azeez said, and for those of y'all know, I'm talking about Houston Texans linebacker Azeez Al-Shaair. He said, "Hey, D'Amico tells us, hey, you're not a lawnmower, so stop, cutting grass. Don't just be standing there cutting grass, or don't waste no space. You find somewhere to get to." The way Fred Warner moves around is the same way Azeez moves around. And so I feel like they could bait him into doing some of that stuff. B, when he get with the amount of pressure that I feel like D'Amico's going to put on him from Will Hunter Will Anderson Jr. and Danielle Hunter.
You made him one. I feel where you're going with that though. There's a hell of a tandem.
B, when he get this in the two games he's played this season, when he gets outside of the pocket, he's 2.8. He completes 2.8% of his passes. All his passes come within the pocket. But I hate to tell you, little buddy, that pocket is going to be collapsed. So, B, I didn't mean to get on a tangent like that, but anybody that tells me that that right now, and I'm not saying anything can happen in the NFL, right? We all watch the movie Any Given Sunday. We know that's a phrase. Any given Sunday, it could happen, right? I did not expect the Minnesota Vikings to beat the San Francisco 49ers, even though I said, well, wait a minute. Now, if Christian McCaffrey's not playing, that changes the whole trajectory and dynamics. My bad, B. I just don't like Sam Darnold.
All right, so we already established that I'm not about to put on no cape for Sam Darnold here. All right. So let me preface that, and then let me also say that before I give this take, I also want to say that the Texans, we all acknowledge, I feel like we all acknowledge, are a better team in 2024 than they were in 2023.
Yes.
Okay. That's important context for the words that I'm about to speak. Okay. Not caping for Sam Darnold. Texans are better in 2024 than they were in 2023.
But
however,
comma pause.
Let me give you some names. All right.
Okay.
Zach Wilson, Desmond Ridder, Bryce Young.
Quarterback. And I know where you're going.
Quarterbacks who beat the Texans last year who shouldn't have, but did. Okay. And one of them, in Zach Wilson, had a career day, like or something like it, an amazing day for his standards. Okay,
But hold on. Can we push that one a little bit to the side because the Texans lost an enormous amount of talent in that game. CJ got injured,
100%.
Jonathan Grenard got injured, Will got injured, Nico got injured.
100%, 100%. I think that's important context for why they lost the game and why they weren't able to do anything on the offensive side of the ball. But I don't feel like I don't feel like if you inject true serum into D'Amico Ryans that he'll tell you he felt good about the way his defense played against Zach Wilson.
Yeah.
You know, you just don't want that to be the case no matter who you put out there. But everything you said is true, like in terms of why they lost that game and what was important about it. But what I'm saying is, it's not like you can't get beat by a bad quarterback if you don't show up yourself. And I expect the Texans to do that. It's not like, it's not like I don't think that they're going to show up, but you still have to do that. And I would say this: what is good about the Vikings right now to me is not Sam Darnold. Like the reason why I would hype up the Vikings at all, and I'm still picking the Texans to win this game, but the reason why I think it's an interesting game has less to do with Sam Darnold and more to do with some of those things I was alluding to earlier, which is the fact that they're able to run the ball. Like they are able to, they have established an identity in running the ball that is much different than what they had last year in a couple of ways. They are much more intentional in the way that they go about it. They have an underrated offensive line, and they've upgraded their running back position and bringing in Aaron Jones, and Chandler is a pretty good back, and both of them are making things happen with yards after contact and things like that. Like they're doing two things that are good in the run game. The O-line is getting push, and then their running backs are getting yards after the contact. So like that is like an ideal, well-rounded run game. So I think that doing that, and then you got Kevin O'Connell as your offensive guy, allows you to open some things up in the passing game that makes things a lot easier for a quarterback that none of us believe in.
Yeah.
Right. That none of us believe in, but even he can make things happen when you can establish the run in that way. And of course, they got some weapons to go along with that. So to me, Sam Darnold is the lesser of the factors, or the least of the factors, where it's like, hey man, just don't screw this up. We got you a run game. I know Justin Jefferson is banged up, but we got you Justin Jefferson, dog. Like you got, like we're trying to help you here, man. Don't sink this ship, man. And I think he is at least capable of, on any given Sunday at the very least. We'll see how sustainable it is, because that's the whole thing with Sam Darnold. He'll have a moment, he'll have a few games, but it'll never last, right? That's his whole thing. So we'll see how long it lasts. But in this individual game itself, I think the Vikings absolutely have a chance. This is going to be a fun game to cover, Sarge.
Once again, listen to the Sports Talk with Big Sarge show. My guest today is Brandon K. Scott, Sports Radio 610, Texans Insider, and radio personality. B, I'm going to move on really quickly because, and me and you, so remember when I see you today at the press conference, right? We're gonna bring back this Carolina and this Atlanta game, because I'm gonna talk to you about how the Texans upgraded at the linebacker position. And if they'd have had Azeez last year, and this is no shot at Cashman and no shot at Perriman, but they're not Azeez, those games would have went different. But we're gonna move on because I got so I want to play this little game with you. Key matchups: Laramie Thompson versus Jonathan Grenard.
Yeah, so I want to see it. Okay, I want to see it for obvious reasons, the same reasons I'm sure that you want to see it. I'm curious, though. I want to get your thoughts on this. I'm curious, though, if they're going to line him up against Titus. Because I feel like Titus is the one, like if you're going to pick which one, like he's obviously going up against both of them and knows them both very well. But if you're going to pick one of them, I feel like Titus would be the one out of the two. And I would point to really that first game against the Colts, where Titus probably had a couple reps he'd like to have back. And I still believe in Titus. But if I were picking, and I love to talk to Jonathan about this, because I'm curious on like how he sees this. Like if in the competitor in you wants to go up against Laramie, like you want the tape and the reps against Laramie,
yeah,
or if maybe you see something possibly against Titus that might be advantageous to you. I want to see what that's going to look like. Either way it go, Jonathan Grenard versus Titus or Laramie in a situation, obviously with Jonathan that's worked out for everybody. He's moved on, and they've replaced him with a hell of a player. But man, I can't wait to see it.
I put this up because AD, you say you mean versus Titus Howard. So, I mean, if I'm not mistaken, Jonathan Grenard has always played right in, right? He's always been on the right side, and they moved him around a little bit last year. But
yes, I was gonna say he had, but then last year with Will, they moved him around. And I'm not gonna say I don't know what exactly. I haven't watched enough or closely enough to see if they've done that in Minnesota so far.
And that's
but
either.
But with Will, the Texans did it with Will last year. So and even at times we'll move Will inside on some passing down. So like I do feel like it'll be one of those situations where they'll be able to move him.
Okay, so just like AD said, in Minnesota they move him as well. And I haven't really dug deep into the tape, and thanks AD, I appreciate that. I'm gonna look into that. Oh, by the way, side note, B, since you're right here, hey man, the H-Town Rundown, they do an amazing job over there, man. And
shout out to AD. Shout out. They
would love to have you on their show. AD, you owe me, bro. That I'm gonna send you how much I'm cash at me today. Because it's like, man, we want to get B Scott on. I was like, I'll talk to him, and now that we're here,
not to handle business in front of family business in front of public, but AD know how to find me, man. Look, holla at me, AD. You know where to find me. I'm not hard to find.
AD, you know where to find me at too. Cash App. I'm gonna send it to you. But I didn't know, and I know that he moves around a lot, but I know that he's very effective coming off the right side, right? Coming off that right side, going up against the left tackle. That's where he's very effective from. And I remember saying that. So that's why I said Laramie Thompson. Because I listen, I feel like he is probably their best defensive lineman that they have. He's very effective from his position. And so I don't know how much they would want to move him around. But then you go back, I think that Laramie was rated the highest pass blocking tackle in the NFL, or one of the highest rated pass blocking tackles this after Sunday night's game. So it's going to be interesting. And I even think that even if they put him on the other side, it's going to be just an interesting matchup, man. Everybody knows that I'm a huge believer in Jonathan Grenard, and I think that I feel like he's also going to have a little bit of take it personal a little bit on the inside, because he felt like I feel like he feels like the Texans should have paid him. He produced enough to to show that he would be very good here.
Yeah, and my understanding, and you check me if you think this is off, but the way I understand it is there wasn't it didn't even seem to be as much interest in doing so. Like it wasn't like just like it didn't work out or they couldn't agree on the number. It didn't really seem like there was much in the way of that. So like I in terms of keeping it or it being personal, perhaps I can definitely see that being the case. But yeah, no, I'm with you there. I've been a Jonathan Grenard believer since the moment they drafted him. I mean, I remember when he came in saying, "Oh, you mean to tell me that he went from Louisville to Florida and led the SEC in sacks and tackles for loss?" Oh, he at the very least is going to be a productive. Like, I don't know how much of a star, like it's hard to predict that, but he at the very least is going to be a productive NFL player so long as he's able to stay on the field. And I know he had some issues with that early in his career
because of injuries. Yeah. And you know what, B, real quick, because I feel like, see what happened when we seen what we're seeing in a fully healthy Nico Collins. I feel like it's the same way with the fully healthy Jonathan Grenard.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? And so
100%.
And so next matchup I got for you.
But hold on. I don't mean to cut you off. I'm sorry. Because I did want to get this in.
Okay, my bad.
I got to say this with respect to the offensive line. I still feel like they are in a position of needing to prove themselves this year. All of those guys are, with the exception of Kenyon Green, who's playing well. All the rest of those guys are established, or I guess Drew Scruggs obviously in his second year. But you got 3 guys on multiple who have had multiple contracts, and then the other 2 young guys are high draft picks, right?
Yeah.
So all of them are come with a certain level of respect to their game. But in week 3, I still feel like they need to establish themselves as a unit in pass protection.
Yep.
Specifically, and so that's something that I'm looking to see them protect CJ. I know we're giving a lot of credit to Jonathan Grenard, but on the Texan side, I want to see this offensive line protect CJ in this game.
For sure. Next matchup I have for you, Derek Stingley Jr. versus Justin Jefferson.
Man, listen, some LSU on LSU crime, teammates. I can't wait to see it. The first week, this is basically the first week on steroids to me. Let me tell you what I mean by that. I was already looking forward to the Mo City Mitch versus Kamari last. And I feel like you ended up talking to Kamari about this maybe at some point, or somebody did.
Going against AD last week with the Colts.
Yeah, or somebody
I talked
did.
to him about it. I asked him about it. Yep, and I put what he said out.
Exactly. Well, I'm glad you did that because I was thinking about that the whole time, right?
Yeah.
And so like this is that like on 1,000, on 10,000, because obviously because of what they did at LSU and what they represent, and them just being, their stature in the league right now. I mean, you're talking about Justin Jefferson, who, as long as Devontae Adams is healthy, I'm gonna still call him the best receiver in the league. But Justin Jefferson, I mean, makes a case.
Yeah.
If you go Justin Jefferson, I'm not gonna fight you or argue with you or nothing like that.
DJ went Justin Jefferson yesterday.
That's fine. That's fine.
You're right. 1 and 2.
I'm not gonna beef with it at all.
Yeah.
So yeah, we're talking about that. And then Derek Stingley legitimately has a chance to establish himself. He just hasn't put together long enough of a season or long enough body of work to actually say this.
Yep.
But if he does it this year, by the end of the year, and this is a prime matchup to establish that, right? If he does it this year, he could very well be in the conversation with best cornerback in the league. I think we already look at him as one of the better ones, even with his limited sample size.
Yeah.
But if he puts it together this year, which I think he totally can, Derek Stingley Jr., by the end of the year, we could be calling him top two, not two, cornerback in the NFL.
Yeah. And be real quick, do you think he takes it as disrespect if they give him over the top help?
Ooh, man, you know what? I would. I think he should. I don't know if he does, but I think he should. I think he should. I think he should embrace that matchup. And honestly, man, I kind of hate to say this, man, but I'm gonna keep it real. Honestly, if I'm on the Texans perspective,
yeah,
man, I like rushing with my ends, strength against strength, because they got a pretty good offensive line. But I like rushing with my ends and trusting, trusting my one-on-one matchups on the outside. I know it's Justin Jefferson, but I like to see what that mano-a-mano look like, and that is in part because the safety, the safety help over the top has left some to be desired at times.
Yeah.
Like I don't know how safe safety help is, to put it kindly, bro.
Hey, look, nothing against Jimmy Ward, but if they switch him over and put Justin Jefferson on the same side as Jimmy Ward, Jimmy gonna have a long day. Jimmy gonna have to back up some. Jimmy gonna have to back up some, because I love me some physical Jimmy Ward, pause, but he's one of those guys, man. He's getting a little bit longer in the tooth in the NFL, and Justin can run right by him. But what I will say is this, though. Last week after the game, Jonathan M. Alexander from the Houston Chronicle and I were talking to Will, and Jonathan asked him about Kamari and about Derek and the way that they play. And he said that what helps us out on the front end a lot is knowing that those guys behind us is going to play amazing defense. We know that behind us, they're going to have nothing but amazing defense, and they're going to be able to hold their man. And so we're not worried about stutter stepping, worrying about what's going on behind us. And you remember during training camp, Danielle Hunter was like, hey, I don't have no more responsibilities like I did in Minnesota. My sole purpose for putting my hand in the dirt and waiting for the ball to be hiked is to go get the quarterback. And so when you have those type, I look at it like this, though, B. I don't look at it as disrespectful, because yes, Derek is a very, very, very good cornerback, very good cornerback. He's going up against one of, like we just said, he's top 3 wide receiver in the league. Look, he's top 3 and he's not 3. So he, like you say, he's the 1 or 2. And so there's going to be times where Derek is going to get beat. Like, I don't think that Derek can completely shut Justin Jefferson down. But what I do believe is that during those times get beat, you just hope that that's the defensive call that you do have over the top help. And you're like, okay, well, hey, Derek bam got beat. Oh, don't worry about it. Somebody else got him behind. And I would play me. This is just me. If I was a defense coordinator, this is the game that Kalen Bullock will get a whole bunch of snaps, because you got a quarterback that's going to be, that I feel like is going to be under pressure, who still hasn't proven anything as long as he's been in the NFL. Then you got an athletic ball hawk at safety who is not, I don't think he's as tall as, I think he may be an inch or 2 shorter than Justin Jefferson. But even with that length and that height, his body length and his height and his ability to track the ball, that will give, to me, any wide receiver a hard time. And I think that, of course, he's still a rookie, so there's going to be times where he may even get, lost in the sauce. But I definitely would put Kalen Bullock in there.
Hey, I like where your head is at, Sarge. I like where your head is at on the Kalen Bullock thing, man. I will echo what you just said, especially about Kalen Bullock. And I'll say this too, man. That was my favorite draft pick on draft night, where, after the draft process was over with, that was the draft pick that I liked the most. With respect to Kamari Lassiter, who has outperformed what I thought he was going to be. He's already better than I thought he was going to be this early.
Yeah.
So perhaps if I had known that or could have projected that, I would have thought differently about him. But immediately I looked at Kalen Bullock as somebody who could be a playmaker for the Texans defense. Immediately, I thought that, and so I'm with you there, and I'm gonna point this out, because I did this on the B Block podcast earlier in the week, but since I'm on with Big Sarge.
Wait, hold on. Available wherever you get your podcast from.
Available wherever you get your podcast from. Check us out. Available wherever you get your podcast from. Make sure you do that. Rate, review, subscribe, tell a friend. But also, like, I'm on the Big Sarge platform, so like more people are gonna hear this, and I want y'all to go back and look at this and watch this, and you tell me, holler back at me and tell me if this was as concerning for you as it was for me. And I'm not doing this to like try to pick on Jimmy Ward, who is an accomplished player and has done a lot of things in this league.
I know where you're going.
But on that play, the bomb to Alec Pierce, okay, which, the one where Anthony Richardson slips and then he just flings it, and it's like, what is that?
That was a 60-yard pass.
Did he just fling the ball 60 yards after slipping and being off balance in traffic? But anyway, so much focus on that throw. But when you go back and look at the play, okay, not only do the Texans get beat deep, and the deep safety is Jimmy Ward, so Alec Pierce gets past Jimmy Ward, which is not supposed to happen the way that defense is designed. But when you watch Derek Stingley recover,
yes,
he runs past Jimmy too. He runs past him too. Jimmy got beat by the offensive player that he's not supposed to get beat by, and the defensive player, his teammate, who was kind of passing him off to him, who was relying on his help.
Yep.
Go back and look at that play, folks.
Yep.
It was concerning. It was concerning. Yep. It's like, okay, you're not supposed to get beat deep. It happens. And Alec Pierce obviously is a fast dude. I get it. But, man, he got beat by the guy he's not supposed to get beat by. And then the dude that I didn't even consider he get beat by, his own teammate.
Yeah.
Derek Stingley recovers into past Jimmy. So that is a like fixated in my head, Sarge. I cannot unsee it. And I'm like, man, I love me some Jimmy Ward. Pause.
Yeah.
But what do we do with that? And Caleb Bullock obviously is younger and an athlete, and somebody who I'm wondering if might be more trustworthy in that specific situation.
And B, I look at it like this, because I talked about that, and I even talked to Derek about it, because Derek was like, I said, Derek, you passed him off, and then you realized that he had ran past Jimmy, and then you went and got him. He said, and I said, you was close. He said, Sarge, he said, I was close, He said I was close, but I should have been closer. He said because when I realized that when I passed him off, when I realized that he was running full speed and he was running past Jimmy, he said I took off, and he said that I should have been. He said I should have been moving because he took he said he took it upon himself. He said, you know what? He said I passed him off and I'm still looking, but I should have probably, kept. He said I kept him in my peripheral, but I'm still looking to see if something else is coming. He said, and I realized, he said, that's when I took off. He said, so I probably could have took off a little bit quicker. And if I'd have took off a little bit quicker, I would have been able to catch him. He said that it was like, he was like this close to, because if you go back and look at the play, he almost knocks the ball out.
Yep.
That's that recovery speed. Also, just like you said, what I couldn't understand, and I think that you know what, B, that when that play happened, I was in Indianapolis. That play happened. I tweeted out, Jimmy is out of position, but I don't know the defensive call because Jimmy is too far down, right? Too far. He's too far down. So by the time Derek passes him off, like they're almost side by side, and Derek is probably thinking to himself, Jimmy, what you doing is close. You're supposed to be back there. Hey, B, here's another thing though. If you go back and you look at the 50, I forgot who caught the 54-yard bomb. I don't remember who caught the 54-yard bomb for them.
It wasn't Mitchell, was it?
No, it wasn't Mitchell. It was
dog. I'm cloudy now.
Yeah, me too. Hold on. Let me see if I could, because I got there.
I had OMG up just a minute ago.
It wasn't. Who was it, man? I'm trying to look now. Hold on. Let me look at the depth chart right quick, B, because I want to make sure I got it. It wasn't Josh Downs. It wasn't. Was it Anthony Gould?
Ooh,
anyway, B, whoever it was, right? And this is since we're talking about safeties.
Was it Doolin?
Oh, it could have been Doolin. Yeah,
I think it was Doolin.
That's exactly what AD said. It was Doolin, right? Hold on here. I don't know why I don't have that. But look, since we're talking about safety play, you go back and you look at that play, B. 2 high safeties, right? 2 high safeties. You go, and remember I told you earlier about how Azeez, roams like Fred Warner does. As Azeez said, he was so close to the ball, he felt the ball hit the tip of his fingers. That's how almost close he came to intercepting that pass. If you go back and you look, watch Murray, right? Because it's Murray and it's Jimmy Ward in the game. And when the one receiver, I don't remember who it was, the one receiver is running the clear out route. He's running the clear out route and he's running into Jimmy's zone. Well, when he's running into Jimmy's zone, Murray is coming over into Jimmy's zone too. So that's why when the play comes underneath, that's why you see him have to come from here and try to go back. He has to try to double back. But if he'd have just stayed in where he was supposed to be, then they don't score that touchdown like that because he's clearly out of position. And so as I digress and move on real quickly, I'm just saying that they got to make sure that they have their safeties, like you say, in position, especially against a player like Justin Jefferson. All right, B, one more. Bobby Slowik versus Brian Flores.
Whoo, boy. This is the one. This is the one for me. Bobby Slowik versus Brian Flores, especially after, and we already know Brian Flores is a well-respected defensive mind in the game. We knew that already. But just kind of reading the tea leaves from the 49ers and how they felt about Brian Flores and what he was able to do against them. There was a brief audio clip of Brock Purdy giving Brian Flores his flowers after the game, saying something about your schemes are crazy, or saying something to that effect. And I'm just like, okay, Bobby Slowik comes from this. He is born of this. He is a product of this San Francisco regime. And now he is going to get Brian Flores on the heels of Brian Flores having a good day against them. What does that look like? And then Bobby, I would say, as much as I like Bobby, I feel like is, in a position in this game where he needs to show his ability to make the adjustment where necessary, if and when necessary.
Yeah.
And I'm not going to pretend to know exactly what the adjustment needs to be right now. I don't know what the script is. and I don't know what Minnesota's script is. I don't know what adjustments are going to come up. But what I'm saying is, in that Sunday night game against the Bears, it felt like when it was time to adjust, they were either slow or inadequate to do so. Slow to do so or did not do so enough or well enough. Like it wasn't always good enough. They won the game, but I do feel like even in victory, I'm able to say that with some level of confidence, just from, we're in the locker room. We understand kind of just, kind of the vibe of the place. Didn't you find it interesting, Sarge, going in there feeling like, they won the game. Obviously, they weren't sulking, but it wasn't the vibe of a winning locker room, of a victory locker room, because they weren't satisfied with the way that they performed.
Yeah.
So it just did not feel like they won the game, like the tone of the locker room, didn't feel like they lost, but it didn't feel like they won either, if that makes sense. So, and I think some of that has to do with, on the offensive side of the ball, all of the leaders, but it does start with Bobby, with him being the play caller and the play designer and all of that, feeling like they did not adjust well enough.
Yeah.
So what does that look like against Brian Flores? Matt Eberflus is a worthwhile and well-respected defensive guy in his own right, but Brian Flores is that guy too. So I'm very, very interested with what that matchup looks like. Bobby Slowik, sort of the toast of the town. Sure to get, got like 5 head coaching interviews last offseason, sure to get some more this upcoming offseason. And Brian Flores, who we know it's got more to do with just the football aspect of it. But Brian Flores, somebody who's kind of drifted out of that head coach conversation. You don't hear his name come up in the same way that you used to. So but these are two, minds dueling here that I think is going to be real interesting to watch.
So, and people who listened to the show on yesterday, and I put out the clip from Monday, they know how I feel about with the offense and Bobby Slowik. And so, I got a different take on it, because your take is pretty much the exact same take that DJ had, and y'all are on that same road, right? So y'all on that same freeway, right? So, and don't get me wrong, that freeway is going to get you exactly where you need to be. I'm going to go ahead and exit off on the feed and probably be a feeder bleeder on this take. And the reason why I say that is because, so week 1, the Vikings played Daniel Jones.
Yeah.
Week 2, the Vikings played Brock Purdy they played him with no Christian McCaffrey, who is a run threat and a pass threat. And I think, did Debo get hurt in that game?
He did.
Debo was the leading receiver too. So you're playing with no Christian McCaffrey, a hurt Debo, and you're playing against Kyle Shanahan, of course, but Brock Purdy is a product of that system, right? Daniel Jones, we know, is just who he is. I mean, really, like Daniel Jones is just a faster Brock Osweiler to me. So, with that being said, right, now you got to play a real quarterback, and you got to play a real quarterback who processes very quickly. You got to play a real quarterback who is accurate. You gotta get to Sarge gets there 30 minutes late. Hey man, look, as long as I get there. But you got to play a quarterback who still feels like he has a point to prove, because he has so many weapons and he's ready to also take that thing to the next level. He's getting acclimated to playing with these guys. Now he has 2 weeks of real-time tape. So yeah, cool. I know I can get the ball to Nico. Let me see how I can get the ball to Dalton. Let me see how I can get the ball to Stephon. Let me see how I can get the ball to Tank. Let me see how I can get the ball to Brevin when he's in the game. And so I think that now he's going to have to scheme totally different than he did the first 2 weeks. And listen, I'm not taking nothing away from Brian Flores. He's a better defensive coordinator than he is a head coach. I will say that. And so I think that what he had, you want to say something real quick, B?
No. I'm agreeing with everything you said, and I'm still getting over a faster Brock Osweiler. That is a hell of a line. And fun tea.
And so now you got to draw up a whole different scheme to go up against against CJ Stroud. Now, with that being said, B, you also Bobby Slowik, right? We said this yesterday, he's only call plays, offensive plays for 19 games in his entire career.
Mhm.
But what did he do before he used to call offenses? Call defenses, right?
Yep.
He was on the defensive side. He didn't call, but he was on the defensive side of the ball with Saleh. He was there when Saleh was there. He was there when D'Amico was there, and now he's here with D'Amico again. And so the one thing that I think that helps Bobby out a lot is he can also see what the defense is doing. I think that when he goes in and he draws up the plays, that he can look at a defense. I think he looks at a defense totally different. Like, I put it like this. I think he looks at a defense kind of like an opposing defense, how, like, even though Bill Belichick didn't really have a lot of say-so on the offensive side of the ball, but he could also say, stop. Hey, look, what you're looking at right here is the defense is going to do blase this and blase that, right? Now, I'm not putting Bobby up there with the defense in mind like Bill Belichick. I'm just using that as an analogy to say that Bobby now can see both sides of the ball. My problem with some of what Bobby Slowik does is I think he gets too conservative. And when he gets conservative, he's slowing down his own team. And I get it. You're still trying to get everybody acclimated to being on the same page. But at some point, hey, man, listen, this is what I felt like last week, B. And you tell me if I'm wrong. And we're going to move on really quick because I didn't had you here for too long, man, but I really appreciate it. B, tell me if I'm wrong about this. At some point last week against the Chicago Bears, I felt like Bobby should have did this. You know what? Hey, CJ, call your own plays this time, all right? Let me see what you got there, buddy. Go ahead, do what you need to do. I'm going to take this earpiece out now. I'll talk to you when you get back to the sideline. All right, man. Hey, have fun, bro. I'm going to be watching from the sidelines just like the fans. At some point, sometimes I feel like, hey, CJ, go with your gut. You go with your gut instead of me calling the plays. They should have, I feel like there should be that type, because sometimes Bobby gets so conservative, and it looks like CJ sometimes when CJ ready to open it up, Bobby dials it back.
Yeah. So I feel like the conversation that you're saying that needs to be had with Bobby taking the earpiece out.
Yeah.
I feel it's funny. I feel like it definitely needs to happen in between drives, though, like in between series, like on the, the sideline communication needs to be, hey, CJ, what do you think about changing up the whole plan? What do you say? We scrap our plan, whatever our plan was. What do you think? And I will call what you think. Like when we will go with that. Like basically, I will be your own voice in your head. Is basically what I would do, because that would essentially be his job, to be CJ's conscious, basically. So I would like to see that. Man, it was frustrating, man, to watch them stick with what was clearly a part of the script, already part of the game plan, when the information that was being given to them in real time about their matchup against the Bears was revealing something different to them.
Yep.
In terms of how well they could block those guys and what CJ could provide for you, even if some of your protection was leaky.
Yeah.
Like I felt like CJ in the scramble drill, which you don't want to live by. You don't want to live on that. But I feel like there was enough that you could do. And of course, you're asking for some creativity on the play caller's part to figure out ways to scheme up a passing game when the run game just is not there and the matchup itself is not there. And of course, you are missing your starting center, and you're going up against a better defense overall. Like, let's have that conversation between drives about switching up this plan. I've been saying this, like, Bobby right now feels like a really good script writer, but not so good necessarily at improv. Like I need you to have a little bit more about you on the improvisational ability to say, hey, we're not going to do this. Now, the conservative part, like, I wonder how much is it conservative and how much is it just the part that I just mentioned, like not having that wiggle room of like, hey, man, this is my plan. I want to stick with my plan. Like, is he less inclined to do that? I'm not exactly sure what the answer is, but I think it's going to be important to be able to have some flexibility to you. when the information shows you something different. So
B,
I want to see what it looked like.
I ain't played Madden in a long time. When last time you played Madden?
Ooh, to be honest, on a cruise, and this would have had to been 2019, maybe, so about 5 years.
I probably ain't played it since like 2012. But
Ooh.
so anyway, in Madden, right? In order to go no huddle, you hold a triangle down, right?
Yeah.
You hold a triangle down. That's what I feel like Bobby should do sometimes. Hey, Bobby, just hold a triangle down. Go no huddle. Go no huddle and just let CJ do what he does. And hey, listen, because I mean, if it's not successful, hey, look, cool, because there's plays that you're going to call that's not going to be successful, right? So, hey, you got a quarterback who can make all the throws, who's very, like I said, very accurate, and don't turn the ball over a lot. Hey, Bobby, just hold down the triangle for a second and let CJ, and then that puts the defense on their heels, because if you go no huddle early in the second quarter, they're like, whoa, we didn't see this on film. What are they doing? So now I got the edge, because you don't never know when I'm going to come back to this.
Yeah. So I'm gonna go back to your point earlier though about Bobby perhaps calling offense or viewing offense through a defensive lens, or how much his experience on the defensive side of the football impacts the way he calls plays or views offense. I would also point out that his father was a defensive coordinator for the Bears at one point. I want to say the Packers. At least 3 different teams, Bob Slowik was a defensive coordinator for. The Browns, I think, for a season. So he grew up with, like, even before his actual coaching experience, he grew up in the home of an NFL defensive coordinator.
Right.
Like literally. So like this is his life, in that side of the ball. And then so I do wonder how much does that factor into like the stubbornness. I don't know if stubbornness is the right word I'm looking for, but I gotta run the ball. Because defensive guys feel that way. And it's because I think this can help or hurt sometimes, depending on how you look at it. But I think it's because they understand how much running the ball imposes a certain level of physicality in the game. And defensive players, they probably won't really tell you this, but they probably would rather a pass play than a run play most times, because run plays force you to tackle. They force you to be physical. It forces you to get off your blocks. There is no incomplete pass. The play has to end in a tackle or a touchdown or some sort of physical way. Yeah. So, like, the more you do that, to kind of go with the Marshawn Lynch run through an MF's face sort of mantra, that is what we're talking about. Like, wearing down, like how much of just simply trying to wear down a defense, and him having that defense perspective, how much of that factors into, okay, now let's hit him with Nico Collins going deep, with Tank Dell, butt naked wide open. We got Stephon Diggs on the team now. We'll dump it to Dalton Schultz, like whatever it is. Like, to me, I wonder how much of that defensive experience, I probably should ask him about this, plays into the way he views the run game specifically. Like, as a defensive guy, I know that defenses don't actually like as much defending the run because of how physical it can be, especially if you do it well. So I mean, that's a long-winded way of basically saying the dude has kind of a defensive coach's mindset when it comes to offense.
Yeah. So you see that H-Town Talk says the wear and tear is greater.
Yeah. In one sentence, what I was trying to say. Yes, the wear and tear is greater on run plays than pass plays.
All right, B, I got to get ready to get you up out of here. But before I do, so we all know, and for those of y'all just joining, you listen to the Sports Talk with Big Sarge show. My guest today is Brandon K. Scott from Sports Radio 610. He's the Texans Insider and radio personality. But not only is he just the Texans Insider, not only is he the host of the B Block podcast, he's also the Rockets Insider for Sports Radio 610 and hosts a show with. Now, on yesterday I called DJ BNMA the NFL Rain Man. Like, so you host a show with what I call the NBA and MLB Rain Man and Adam Spolane. Bro, do you see how Adam is able to now his football takes are horrible. I told him that to his face. Hey, your football takes are horrible, but your baseball takes are amazing. And your ability to recall things that happen as far as basketball is concerned, bro. There's only one other person there's only one other person that I will go to about basketball stuff like that, and that's Cody M. Davis. I got Cody, but Cody, listen, man, Cody could tell you about an Orlando Magic versus Minnesota Timberwolves game that happened 4 years ago, and in the third quarter, what happened, the exact play, the time, who was the coach, what he had on, who was in the stands. I'm saying to myself, but listen, the only thing Cody knows more than basketball like that and football as well is Michael Jackson facts.
Yes.
I digress. So you host what is the H-Town Hoops podcast with Adam Spolane. And before you get out of here, man, I got just one quick question for you when it comes, because the Houston Rockets are about to start training camp here at the end of the month. And before we know it, there's it'll be time for the regular season. And so when you look at the Houston Rockets, what are some of your early outlooks on the Houston Rockets, who went 41-41 last season? And the reason why I'm asking you this is because that was a improvement from the year prior. And 1 year under Ime Udoka, they're 41-41, finished 500. They were tinkering on almost getting one of those playing spots in the NBA postseason. And so the reason why I'm asking you this, B, is specifically not only to let people know that you have the H-Town Hoops podcast with Adam, but B, when you look at that Southwestern division, right? When you look at that Southwest division, bro, they're competing against the Dallas Mavericks, the New Orleans Pelicans, the Memphis Grizzlies, who getting Ja Morant back, and the San Antonio Spurs with Wemby, and they're only getting better, adding more talent. And so, not to mention how competitive the Western Conference is as a whole, but it's going to be a dogfight just getting out of their own division.
Yeah, so I'm glad that you mentioned Memphis specifically, because I think, and San Antonio, because I think with San Antonio improving, kind of San Antonio and Houston are in kind of a race of like trying to get from the bottom to the top.
Yeah.
But obviously San Antonio has Wemby, and that matters a lot. But in terms of competition, San Antonio expected to be improved in year 2 with Wemby, and then Memphis getting Ja Morant back, to me, means like bigger picture for the Rockets and this season. It means that the West is going to be more, even more competitive for the spots that they're trying to get to in the playoffs.
Yeah.
But then at the same time, I feel like they can get there with fewer wins than what it took for them to get there last year, if that makes sense. So like they went 41-41 this year, right?
Yeah.
And our guy, colleague and friend Kelly Eco was mentioning this in The Athletic as well. Like, it took 46 wins to get in the play. They won 41 games. It took 46 to get in. He feels like they could get in with 43 this time. I'm on that same mindset of like, hey, there are going to be more teams vying for that spot, but because of that, the jump that you need to make doesn't have to necessarily be from 41 to 46, 47, 48.
Yeah.
It could just be from 41 to 43, 44, right? To actually get there. But are you better than, and it's a similar question to last year, and Spo and I, Adam Spolane and I, did this on the H-Town Hoops podcast, where we tried to find all the teams that we thought for sure that the Rockets were better than, and we did not have many. This year, I think we'll have more, or we'll be at least more encouraged about how to go about doing that with the Rockets after seeing what we saw last year. Rockets fans should be encouraged by Ime Udoka in the direction of the team, should be encouraged by Alperen Sengun before the injury, right? Before he misses the last 19, 20 games or whatever it was at the end of the year with the injury. Encouraged what Jalen Green did toward the end of the season in Şengün's absence, right?
Mhm.
And Jabari Smith, Cam Whitmore, Tari Eason, Amin Thompson. I mean, all of these guys as young players, I think, are all at the very least decent contributors to a winning team, especially as they develop. Okay. But look, this thing is going to be super, super, super competitive. How
And they got a
many?
zone buster in Reed Shepard.
And they finally have an element to the team that they have not had, which is somebody who can consistently hit threes. They just
Yeah.
have not had that. And
Yep.
I'm very curious about whose minutes is he going to be taking, because they're not going to be able to afford to not play him. You
Yeah.
know, like I don't think they're going to be able to give him the rookie treatment of you go down to the G League, you ride the bench, and then like he's going to have to play.
Yeah.
So I don't know who that's going to impact. That'll be interesting to see. But this should be a better basketball team.
Yeah.
What they're bringing back should be better. And again, I'm glad you mentioned Reed, because they're adding an element to the team that they just did not have before. So, man, I can't wait to see them get out there, man. I'm predicting that they are at very least a play-in team. To me, it's a flat-out disappointment if they're not at the very least a play-in team. And we'll see how high that ceiling is. Maybe they could even be a 6 seed. You know, like if I don't think that that's outside of the realm of possibility if everything goes right for them.
Yeah, and I agree, and I concur with everything that you say. Especially when the one thing that the Houston Rockets were always, well, the one thing, excuse me, that other teams were able to do to the Rockets was go into zone and then say, yeah, y'all don't have enough outside shooters to get us out of this zone. And they did it when they did it when Coach Silas was here. They did it last year, and now you look at it as now you have somebody that can do it. And real quickly, I'm just gonna say, man, I think that the breakout player for the Houston Rockets this year, the one person that's going to elevate his game and take them to that play-in berth is going to be Jabari Smith Jr., man. I've heard nothing but great things about what Jabari did during that USA Select team that helped prepare the USA men's basketball Olympic team get ready for Paris. So I'm looking forward to it. I can't wait to get started. I'm curious to see. You know what's so crazy? Well, real quick, I think that the one thing I think fatherhood is going to help Jalen out a whole lot. I think that that's going to mature him enough to, and I'm not saying that Jalen was ever immature, but he was, when you're very young, rich, famous like that, and you're high profile, you get all these endorsement deals, when and single at the time, I mean, the sky's the limit. You're talking about a guy who jumped right into the fame like that. Like, wow, here it is all at once, especially at his age. And now he's a father. So now it's like, hey, man, I can't be doing all that. I can't hang out with y'all like that no more. I gotta go home to my baby. There's things like fatherhood will change. I mean, you just look at look at how Fred VanVleet is with his kids, man. And I know he's been in the league a little bit longer, but man, I mean, when you look at him as an example, man, he has his son. His son be waiting for him to get out of the locker room. So, I just think that that's going to be different for him.
Yeah, and I don't want to try to compare myself to Jalen Green, because obviously I was not a rich and famous athlete at that age, but I did have my first child around Jalen Green's age, and as
Yeah.
somebody who was, behaving and acting like somebody who was 18 to 21 up until that point,
Yeah.
I can tell you as a matter of fact that it was having a child that changed like the trajectory of my life, and just like how seriously I took life and how seriously I took myself. I
Yeah.
still don't take myself too seriously, but I absolutely had to take myself more seriously than I was before, because it like life just mattered so much more than just me at that point. And,
Yeah.
and honestly, it has a lot to do with why I'm sitting in front of you right now in this position right now. I don't have that child at that time in my life. I cannot guarantee you that I change my ways at that time. So it's got a lot to do with what eventually I became after that, And again, not to compare myself to Jalen Green, but I definitely understand how having a child, especially having one at an age like that, when you're that young, how that can change your perspective and kind of give you the kick in the tail that you need.
B, we got to get up out of here, man. And listen, hold on. First, before I even show you this, hey, tell the people where they can find you at, B.
Man, at Brandon K. Scott on Twitter, formerly on X, formerly known as Twitter. At B Scott from Hiram Clark. Make sure that E is at the end of Clark. Okay, and the real Houstonians, I have to tell you that. But at B Scott from Hiram Clark on Instagram and the B Block Podcast, man. That's the B Block Podcast, wherever you get your podcasts. Also on YouTube. Subscribe, rate, review, and tell a friend. H-Town Hoops as well. That's coming back next week. Myself and Adam Spillane plan to be doing that on the regular during the Rocket season. So make sure you check that out.
B, I want to say thank you, man, for joining the Sports Talk with Big Sarge show today, brother. I know that time is I say this all the time. Time is the one thing that time is the most valuable possession that an individual has, because it's something that you can never get back. You can never ever get time back, man. And for you to spend the time with me today, I appreciate that. Now, make sure you're following me on the app formerly known as Twitter at Big Sarge Sports with the Z at the end. Make sure you follow me on the Tick and the Talk at Big Sarge Media. Make sure you are subscribed to my YouTube channel at Big Sarge Media and read all my articles at www.bigsargemedia.com. I'm also on Instagram. That's Big Sarge Sports with the Z at the end. Now, B, you see how professionally I did that, right? See how professionally I did that, right? And so and I only did that, B, because I'm about to be petty as hell. And people who follow me and watch this show on a consistent basis or follow me on social media, I tell them all the time, I am petty Pendergrass, petty Bridgewater. Like, I'm super petty. Like my petty is bigger than Bryce Young. So like, I'm petty, right? Look at what AD said. B, that boy was growling. That was there. Who growls, bro? I don't think I've ever growled during sex. Growl?
I was like, man, when did Shannon Sharp become DMX?
That's exactly what I said. I was like,
what in the world? Hey, I was going to say, I don't know what Michelle had going on, but the growl had me curious. I was like, what make you sound like that?
And another thing that I was curious about is, so like, who else Michelle is she? Like, if that's your Michelle and you know that's your Michelle, then why you keep saying that's my Michelle?
Hey, you got to establish your territory. Dog is marking his territory. That's what was happening.
Give a dog a bone. Give a dog a home. Let a dog grow.
hey, I don't know who is this. I know we opened this talking about music. I am curious to see who the artist is that's going to use not all of that, but a form of that in their track. You know what I'm saying? Like as some kind of sample. Who is going to sample the Shannon Sharp Michelle? That's my Michelle tape.
Wow.
It's gonna happen. You know it's gonna happen.
Wow. Hey, listen, I'm a huge fan of It Is What It Is with Cameron and Mace. I'm pretty sure that they probably gonna have something like that soon. B, thank you for once again, man. Thank you for joining. I'll see you later on today over at NRG Stadium.
Time well spent, brother. Appreciate you for having me.
Yeah, they got practice today, and so thank you, B. Once again, I appreciate that. So the Houston Texans have practice today. They will practice here in about an hour and a half, and after that, we'll get a chance to talk to D'Amico Ryans, head coach of the Houston Texans. We'll get a chance to get into the locker room. I have some exclusive content for you all as far as in the locker room, and then we'll talk to quarterback CJ Stroud afterwards. And so thank you all for joining today. I know we went a little bit longer than normal and a little bit longer than usual, but you just don't have a guest like B Scott on and don't, pick his brain about everything. So, it's the same way I am. If you ever click on the show and you see Cody Davis on here, just go ahead and prepare if you're going to stay for a minute to stay for a minute, because I'm going to pick his brain the exact same way. I had fun today, y'all, and I appreciate you for joining me. Big Sarge, I'm out.
Hard work. Hard work. Hard work.